I'd like to introduce a new series that I'm beginning on farm marketing solutions. I am currently struggling with work to balance everything, to make things viable going forward, to balance my time, to really define where I'm having the value, and to start that story and to show you what I'm using, the tools I'm using to find a solution. I want to go back in time to when I almost lost my job and then go forward through the years for going through my quarter life crisis that I now call it. And then through the years, I've been farming for 6 years, what I've learned every year, the mistakes I've made, the victories that I've had, the losses that I've suffered, and show you not only the backstory, but leading up to where I am today, giving you a full picture of where my farm is, and then the processes and the tools that I'm using to efficiently and hopefully effectively manage my time, my resources, and the people that I'm working with. I have some really smart stuff that I've been using these days, some apps, some computer programs, and then some really just simple strategy that just takes dedication, a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, a little bit of energy to make things organized. All of this stuff will apply whether you're farming or not, but everything is going to have a farming slant. Today's video is going to start with my backstory on how I almost lost my job and why that was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I wasn't always a farmer. I didn't go to school for farming. I didn't grow up in a farming family. I grew up in suburbia in Naugatuck, Connecticut, and on an eighth of an acre with neighbors on all sides, zero privacy, and definitely wasn't connected with the woods other than the occasional camping trip. I grew up in the going to Boy Scouts and going camping and that kind of good stuff, but really farming was not a part of my life. I went to school at the University of Connecticut for design and technical theater. I have a background in scenic and lighting design. I was an electrician for a number of years, and then, fast forward, after college, I went to New York City because that's where all the work was. I lived in New York City for about 4 years, and for 3.5 of those years, I was the lighting technician, the house electrician for the Howard Stern Show. That's right. My day-to-day was working for the Howard Stern Show. I turned the lights on. He had a radio show, if you're not familiar. He had a radio show that was on regular terrestrial radio, and the TV show was on E! Networks. And then it switched over to satellite radio, and his TV show went to on-demand. With in-demand networks, people could view it on-demand when they wanted, where they wanted, without having to wait and watch it live as it came out on regular cable television. It was for in-demand networks that my job was, and I was working not directly for Howard Stern, but I was underneath his umbrella working in the TV studio there. So 3.5 years in, it was an awesome job. I have nothing bad to say other than, it's just a typical corporate job. It had a flashy title of being the Howard Stern Show, but it was your average corporate job. I loved it. I liked the people that I worked with. This isn't a tell-all video. This is all about the experience that I had that led me to leave my job on the show and become a farmer full-time. Now, in the entertainment industry, there are contract negotiations. Sometimes it's for a season, a set number of shows. Sometimes it's just for a pilot, and sometimes it's for a duration of time if it's a show like the Stern Show that happened 4 days a week. Now, mine was for a duration of time. It was a 5-year contract, and during my employment, it was coming to the end of that contract, and it was time for renegotiations. I was not privy to any of the negotiations that went on. I knew that, Howard was pulling for us. Everybody wanted to get together. It was just a matter of details. But during that contract renegotiation, there were several months when we didn't know if they were going to re-sign, and we didn't know if we were going to have a job. I was working with a couple dozen people, and day to day you could watch everybody's shoulders kind of tension up, ratchet up, and you could see the tension rise as people as we got further into this, and we didn't know if we were going to have a job at the end of the year. All through that, I became disillusioned with city life. I got into food politics. I got into the slow food movement, and just sourcing where my nutrition was coming from, and wanted a change from the kind of food desert that is New York City. Like, there's a lot of good food and a lot of farm-to-table restaurants, a lot of classy stuff. There's not a lot of people growing food in the city. Plus, it's a very busy lifestyle. If, some people love it. I loved it for a little bit of time, and it wasn't for me. So in conjunction with this contract renegotiation, the stress of not having job security or not knowing if I had job security, I also wanted better food security, and saw my career going in a different path. So it gets down to the Christmas party, and we still don't know if we're going to be employed. And all this time I'm thinking, I'm out of here. I'm getting out of here. You know, if they can sit there and dangle the carrot of my future in front of me, and if I don't know, and I'm watching all these people get stressed out about what their next step is going to be, I'm going to figure out what my next step is. And for me, my next step was going on a bike trip across the country, or at the time it was going to be around the world. But really, I just needed the idea. I needed something, a driver, to get me out of there. So I came up with this idea of this big bike trip. I started micro bike touring, being trips from anywhere from 250 to 750 miles from New York City to Canada, New York City to Philadelphia. Took a bunch of pilot trips and was like, I'm hooked. I love it. I could fit everything I needed to exist on a bicycle, and that was enough for me. So our contract re-signed, and everyone looked at me and said, hey, you had this idea for a bike trip. You got 3 more years of contract. Are you going to do it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Because in 3 years, all of you guys are going to be in the same position again. There's going to be that same amount of stress, and I will have hopefully figured out what I want to do with my life. So in the spring of 2011, Kate and I left New York City and went from New York City to Seattle to San Diego for 5,500 miles, traveling across the United States for almost a year, visiting farms and craft breweries along the way. It was life-changing. It was amazing. I had no idea what I wanted to do at the end of it, but that's what the point of the trip was. It was my quarter-life crisis, which is my fun term for it. But yeah, I just didn't want to work in the city anymore. I didn't want to work in entertainment necessarily, and wanted to find out more about our food system and how farmers are growing food sustainably across the United States. So we did just that. So almost losing my job, having that stress of somebody dangling the carrot, I was like, never again. That's one of the major reasons why I left, is because I wanted more control over my life. I didn't know how I was going to find that, but I found that through becoming an entrepreneur and becoming a farmer. So I left my job in 2011. Fast forward, it's 2017 as I'm shooting this video. I live in probably one of the most beautiful set of 52 acres in existence. I mean, this piece of property is really, really beautiful. I get to do what I love on a day-to-day basis. I have at least 2 or 3 meals a day with my family, depending, on Mabel if she's in school or whatever is going on. But I get to eat with my family every day. I'm eating farm-to-table food at my table every day. I'm not the richest guy. I don't have all this kind of fancy stuff. My car has 135,000 miles on it. Whatever. I'm very, very happy with what I am doing and who I am. And I have a lot of control over my destiny, how my life is shaped, where my money and income is coming from, how secure things can be. Something can go wrong at any time. It's not the perfect lifestyle, because no one has a perfect lifestyle. Everybody has something that they struggle with, but I have a little bit more control. I love being an entrepreneur. There are high highs and there are low lows. But with all that comes a sense of freedom, with a double Adirondack chair looking over a 5-acre pond, a beautiful piece of property. I get to work with livestock, vegetables. I get to nurture things and watch them grow. My hands are permanently dirty, which I love, and I couldn't be a happier guy. Why am I putting all of this together? I wanted to show you how I've made my decisions through the last couple of years. With my now hindsight of 2020, would I do it all again? Absolutely. Would I change anything? Even the struggles, the hard parts? No, I wouldn't change a single thing, because any decision I've made to this point has led me to creating this video right here on a beautiful sunny day in September. It's nice and cool outside. I'm about to start my farm chores, and there's nothing more I could ask for. So I'm putting more details together on my blog. All these videos, I have a corresponding blog post on farmmarketingsolutions.com, and I'll link them right underneath the videos every single Friday. As well as that blog post, I have a summary page where I'm outlining what the storyline is here, what I'm going to be covering over the next couple months, and these are things that I'm already doing or have already done. So it's not theory, this is actually happening right now. I want you guys to follow along. I know there are a lot of you with a farm dream. If you've gotten to the end of the video here, then you know that this is something that you're into. You've heard my videos before. Now let's go on a journey together. Let's figure this out. Let's me help you get things organized and take the steps that you might need to either start farming part-time, full-time, or just get your life in order a little bit more. Not saying, again, that I'm perfect, but I got some cool stuff going on. So I have a 45-minute interview when I was on the Howard Stern show talking about leaving, and you get to see a young, inspired, foolish me talk to Howard Stern himself about leaving and being foolish, and it's kind of funny. I mean, it's weird to look back. I always have trouble watching myself. It's even weird for me editing videos, but you'll see it if you want to go check it out. There'll be videos. I'll have it all organized, what my storyline is over the next few months. You'll see all of that in the links below this video. So follow week to week, and yeah, that's about it. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. I hope you enjoy the backstory. I hope that you subscribe to the channel and come along for the ride. I want you to see where I'm coming from, how and why I've made the decisions I've made, and what I plan to do to make my farm more viable going forward. Again, thanks for taking the time to watch the video. Until next time, I'll see you out in the field.